What's going on? Average Tech Guy here, and today we are back. More tech, more reviews, and right here in front of us today, I got my second neck fan air conditioning combo. This is from the company Ranvoo, and this is ICE. So let's talk. All right, so this device around my neck is called ICE. It's from the company Ranvoo. Now, I've had some of their other little gadgets before, but when they reached out to me and said, hey, you want to try out ICE? I'm like, okay, cool. So let's give it a try, and we want to see what it is all about. Now, I will tell you, even though they sent this product over, this is my honest opinion about this particular brand and product. So first off, I'm going to show you everything that comes in the box with this whole thing, and we'll talk about what you're going to get out of this device. But when you first open it up, this is what you were greeted with. Let's take this out and let's see what is on the inside. So get a lot of stuff in here. A lot of stuff in here. Okay, that's it. We got it empty. All right, so first thing is we got the ICE quick start guide, and basically it's going to tell you how this thing works, how to cool it down, how to run your app, all this good stuff. Now, one thing that I did not like, and I'm just going to tell you what I didn't like and what I did like all the way through. So one thing I didn't like right up front was when you scan this, it doesn't really take you to the app store. It takes you to another website, and you actually have to download, and you have to take a risk at, basically getting this app. So it's not the Ranvoo app. It's the Meta Aura app. So it says Ranvoo when you open it up. I'll show you the app in a moment. We'll walk through it. But basically, it's an app that you have to download an APK and install it to your device. So I don't know what it looks like on Apple. I didn't even try. I just did it directly on my Android first. But that was one of my first gripes. Then, okay. This is just their advertising book. So it basically just tells you about them, what they do, what it does, all that good stuff. More stuff, and looks like a bag. All right, so you do have a carrying case with this. It says ICE on the front of it, just like that. Pretty nice. Like it. Like the presentation. Okay, let's get into the device itself, shall we? All right, so this is bread and butter. This is what we got. This is the device itself. Let's just get everything out of this box so we can get it set up. Now, this is the stand right here, and your charging cable is right here. Charging cable looks like it is two different charging cables. Yep. USB-C and a USB right there. So you got options when it comes to charging. I like that right off bat. Let's go ahead and get all this out of the way. All right, so this is what we get. Now, your charging stand, you don't plug this doesn't sit on here and charge. Basically, you undo the back. Charging cable is going to run through there, and it will allow you to charge this on the back right here via USB Type-C. So we're going to set that right over there for right now. And let's come back to this. Now, if you look at this device, you may say it looks a little funny. This thing actually can open and close, so it fits the curvature of just about any size neck. That's one of the best parts about it. Then you actually have fans up top, and this is actually the top of it. Power button here, fans in here. You do have a 1.9-inch touch screen right there. And this is a colored screen. Nothing on this side but the word performance. And you get the ICE logo here. Now, this whole thing is gonna weigh on your neck about 1.2 pounds. You actually get 3D curved cooling right here on the inside. Your average temperature can be adjusted anywhere from 60 degrees Fahrenheit to 130 degrees Fahrenheit, because this does support AC as well as heat. So if you're using Celsius, that's about 16 degrees Celsius, all the way up to about 55 degrees Celsius. So 60 to 130 Fahrenheit and 16 to about 50 Celsius. And then operating temp, anywhere from 32 degrees to about 104. So if this thing gets too hot, it'll actually give you notifications on your application. We'll see if we can get that to mimic it a little later on. It has a 7,000 milliamp hour battery on board, and it actually will take it about 2.5 hours to charge from 0 to all the way full. If you're just running a fan on here, not like real heating, not real cooling, you're gonna get 12 hours of time on it. Cooling mode is about 3.5 to 6.5 hours. Your max cooling, where you got it all the way down to about 16 degrees, or the 60 degree cooling temp, you're going to get about 2.5 hours out of that. And your max heating time is going to be about 4.5 to 6.5 hours. So you got a lot of time to be able to use this. Now, if you are standing outside, and I know you probably just saw that sensor go off back there, you can see it kind of blinking. We'll talk about that in just a moment, because that is very interesting in itself. But if you're using this outside for a long period of time, you're going to get notifications that let you know, hey, you're in an extremely hot temperature. You may need to turn the fan down and the coolness up, or vice versa, and things like that. So since we got all that out of the way, we have not crunked this bad boy up and turned it on. Let's do so we can talk about all the buttons and everything on here. Press down, it vibrates, and it will come on. Now I have this in a cooling mode right now, but like I said, if you want to change this cooling mode, this is your function button. Hold for about 2 seconds. It will swap to heating mode. Hold for about 2 seconds. It will put it in your AI mode. Hold for 2 seconds again, goes back to heating, then goes back to cooling, and it just will cycle and toggle through those different modes. Now, your fan speed cannot be adjusted up here by anything. So that is one of the drawbacks from what I've seen in some of the other neck fans and neck air conditioners, is your fan speed can actually be connected from just touching something here. Here you have to touch your touch display. So if you swipe down, it actually gives you your core temperature and it gives you your wind speed. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, and because this touch screen is not as responsive as it should be. So I'm swiping over, and sometimes it will automatically turn that up, and pressing the down for the temperature and the up for the temperature are no issues. It's just sliding that wind speed over, as sometimes it's not as responsive, but it's not a game changer. It's not a deal breaker. It's just something that is a little bit frustrating at times when you go to touch it. But for the most part, it does work pretty well. When you're done there, if you swipe up, it takes you back to your main screen. Swiping this way brings up your heart rate. This way, again, brings up your activity. Boom. This brings up the temperature. You get music toggles as well. And then it brings you right back to your main screen. If you want to go into your settings mode, you do actually have AI settings. So if you swipe over from the right, it's going to bring you into your AI settings. So your health, your workout, your weather. So now that we got that out of the way, I do want to go over a few of the little nuances about this device itself. I'm going to tell you all the good, and then I'm going to tell you a few of the things that I really don't care for that much. We will call those the bad. So let's do it. Now, this does come with its own application. Now, I'm big on applications to control devices because, of course, I am a tech guy. But one of the biggest issues that I've found with this device is, number one, turning it on, and number two, controlling it. Now, you may say it's really easy to turn on and it's easy to control, right? So when I take it off my neck, I push the on button. As I push the on button, it actually cranks up and you can hear it blowing air. Now, that is exactly how it's supposed to work, right? But this button over here is the button that controls everything. So if I hold this button down, it goes off. If I press this button, now, see, I'm pressing, I press, I press, I hold, I press, I hold. There we go. Now it finally starts back up. That is what your touch screen is gonna look like. Now, one of the biggest things about the touch screen is it's a little finicky at times. When I press, I can control my temperature just like so. And it actually vibrates. And I can control my wind speed just like so. Now, this touch screen is not as responsive. Like, it's a good concept, but I think it could have been a bit more responsive. And I say that to say this. Let's just let it go back to, because see, once you get it in that touch mode where you can control your temperature and your wind speed, you gotta just let it come back on its own. And now that it goes off, we touch it again, it will pop back on. So once again, heart rate, my actual activity is shown here. You do have the temperature, you have music. So that's another thing. It has built-in speakers. It can take calls. It can actually change your music. But I want you to see this. There is your music right there, your controls, as far as your play, your fast forward, your volume. Can you see what you're doing? I want you to just be the judge of that. Because if I want to change my music, I find myself having to reach for my phone versus being able to do this. So you can't really toggle or control your music changing, your stopping, playing, pausing, or even your music volume like this. You either gotta do it through your phone or take it off your neck and do everything that way. So that's one of the things that kind of falls into that bad category. The other thing that really falls into that bad category is, once again, I can't control the speed or the temperature on here without taking it off of my neck unless I'm using the app. When you're inside the app and you're controlling your, there we go. All right, so now we got it. And like I said, we still gonna have some lines, but otherwise, this is what it's gonna look like. So right now it says it's on 67 for the right now it says it's on 67 for the speed of the wind, and it's down on 66. Now you can actually go in and toggle like all the like Fahrenheit and Celsius and all that good stuff. I'll show you how to do that, but I'm taking it all the way down to 60 and I'm taking this all the way up to 100. So it actually worked that time. Now I'm gonna bring this all the way down. Halfway up. Okay. Cooling mode. Now let's try it all the way up. All the way down. Okay. All the way up. All the way down. So a couple of things I want to explain to you right off bat, and I'm going to tell you the good as well as the bad. The good is it has a real strong fan system on it, and it has a fan system on top that blows up and a fan system on back that actually blows down. The good also, it gets really cold on the sides. Now, if you're outside in 100-degree weather and you got it all the way down to 60 degrees, you may not notice. Just keep in mind, it does get cold though. So when you first put it on in 100 degrees, you're going to feel it, but as time goes by, they kind of, it kind of just defeats the purpose. It can't keep up with the temperature outside. And speaking of that, if the temperature outside gets too hot, it will actually just shut this thing down just to keep you from burning your neck. And speaking of burning your neck, let's talk about one of the bads. So there is a sensor right here, and you may be able to see it kind of lighten up. That sensor on the back, it will heat up and it will make your neck sweat. I was actually in the yard earlier today using this, and I had no sweat here on the sides, no sweat here on the sides, but right here in the back, there was sweat and it was hot. So just keep in mind that sensor on the back will heat up, and that is one of the bad parts about it. The other bad thing about it is sometimes it won't like function exactly how you want it when you want it. Now I've done a few tests with the actual Bluetooth, having this thing on playing music and taking calls, and the speakers are great if you just got it right on your shoulders. You can hear what you need to hear. It's not very loud though, so just keep in mind this is not a speaker system. This is a air conditioner with a speaker built into it. Don't expect a lot from it. It actually opens up for a wider neck and it goes in for a smaller neck. And like I said, once you put it over your head and around you, you close it in and it stays in place. So haven't really had a whole lot of issues with that. The part comes in where I have the issues at controlling things, because if you notice the touch screen was over here on this side. So if you ever want to control anything without your application, you actually have to take it off your neck, come in, scroll through, make your choices, do whatever you want to do, and once you get it where you want it, put it back onto your neck. Also, your temperature, if you short press, it pulls up all your temperature as well as your fan speed. And the screen is not as responsive as I thought it would be. It works most of the time, but sometimes it actually picks up in different spots. Now, it's not a deal breaker, but it's one of those things where you're gonna just have to get used to it. The other thing, what was the other thing? The application. So we'll just sit this down here. And I had some issues with the application at first because there were no updates done to this actual device. But now that I've done all the updates, it seems to be working pretty good. When you open your app and you actually have to download that and all that stuff, we already talked about that. But controlling your fan speed, just like that. You heard it go down. If you turn it back up, you should hear it go back up in a few seconds. So it's pretty solid on the response time. Fan speed down, should quiet back down. Fan speed up. There we go. So a little 1 to 2 second delay, but it does the job. Now the other thing I do want to show you inside this application is going to be all of your measurements. So your heart rate, your oxygen, your activity, even the weather for today is going to be in there. And then if you go into your settings, you can change the settings on the device. You can change whether it does wear detection. So if you turn wear detection on, it typically will kind of calm itself down. It may not have gotten the memo right about now though. And like I said, sometimes you do get a lag in between the two devices when you're working with Bluetooth. You can see the brightness levels go halfway and you really can't tell, but if you go all the way down, you can tell, and if you go all the way back up, you can tell. So with all the updates and everything, like I said, some of this stuff was not working properly, but with all the updates, everything seems to be working just fine now. And the other good about this is you can actually control it, or you can use it while it's being charged. So I heard a lot, this is my second one, but I heard of a lot of the neck fans, you couldn't use them while they were being charged, but this one, you can use it while it is being charged. The other thing I do want to caution everybody about is your Bluetooth connectivity. When you pair these two, don't think you'll be able to listen to music right away. You still need to go into your Bluetooth settings. You need to select ICE and you need to make it play your audio and take calls. So just keep in mind, you have to do those steps in order for it to work. Otherwise, you still won't be able to make calls and you still will not be able to listen to music. You got to go into the phone's Bluetooth settings. I'm saying this one more time so you don't forget. Go into the phone's Bluetooth settings. It doesn't automatically pair. Okay, you got to go in and manually pair it for music and calls. So just keep that in mind. But other than that, I think it's a really neat little device. And I think if you are in the market for a neck fan air conditioner, not everybody is, but if you are, I think this is a pretty decent one to go and check out. Like I said, there are some bad spots, there are some good spots, and I've told you pretty much all of them. But just keep in mind, if you are outdoors in an environment where you're going to be getting warm, just know that this thing is going to cut off on you. If you're sitting in an office and you want something to blow cool on you for a while with no issues, this is going to be great for you. So hopefully that has been able to help someone out. This is Ice from the company Ranvoo. Go by and check it out. Until next time, be sure and give me that big thumbs up. Please subscribe. Average Tech Guy out. Peace.